Let me tell you something most women don't want to hear, but every man understands. A man does not fall in love because you give him more. He falls in love because he realizes what life looks like without you. See, men are wired different. We don't wake up thinking about feelings. We wake up thinking about purpose, peace, and pride. And when a woman knows how to create just enough distance, she doesn't push a man away, she pulls his future toward her. Let me break this down for you, because this first point is where everything starts. Distance reveals a man's true intentions, and I don't mean distance out of anger, silence as punishment, or disappearing to make him panic. I'm talking about intentional distance, the kind that comes from self-respect. See, when you're always right there, always present, always available, a man never has to decide anything. He just enjoys what's in front of him. But the moment you step back just enough, his comfort is interrupted, and now his intentions are exposed. Men don't respond to words the way women do. You can talk all day about what you want, how you feel, where the relationship should be going, and a man can nod his head and still do nothing. But when your presence changes, when your energy changes, when your availability changes, now he has to respond. Distance creates a question in his mind. Why does this feel different? And once that question is there, he can't ignore it. A man who truly values you will feel that distance immediately, not because he's scared of losing control, but because he's scared of losing you. He starts replaying conversations. He starts noticing the silence. He starts wondering what he needs to do to get back to that place of closeness. And that's when intention turns into action, because real intention doesn't hide. When things get uncomfortable, it steps forward. But here's the part most women miss. Distance doesn't scare away a serious man. It scares away an unserious one, a man who was only there for convenience, attention, or ego will not chase clarity. He'll fade, he'll get inconsistent, he'll make excuses. And that's not a loss, that's information. Distance saves you time. It stops you from investing your heart in someone who was never planning to build with you. When you create distance, you're no longer carrying the relationship on your back. You stop reminding him. You stop pushing conversations. You stop adjusting your standards just to keep his attention. And that's when the relationship becomes honest, because now he has to show you who he really is without your effort covering for his lack of commitment. Men reveal their intentions under pressure, not comfort. Comfort makes a man lazy. Pressure makes him decide. Distance applies just enough pressure to force a decision without a single argument. You're not asking, where is this going? Your actions are asking it for you, and his response or lack of one gives you the answer. A man who sees you as a future wife doesn't relax when you step back. He steps up. He increases communication. He becomes clearer. He starts talking about plans, not just feelings. He starts acting like a man who doesn't want another man to have access to you. That instinct doesn't come from games. It comes from value. And here's the truth that changes everything. Distance reminds a man that you are choosing him, not needing him. Needing creates dependency. Choosing creates respect. when he realizes that your life is full, your peace is protected, and your happiness doesn't collapse, without him, he sees you differently. Not as someone to keep around, but as someone to secure. Distance is not about control, it's about clarity. It removes confusion, mixed signals, and wasted effort. It puts the responsibility back where it belongs, on him. And when a man is given the space to show his intentions, he always does. Let me explain this second truth, because men value what they have to earn, not what is always available. This is not cruelty, it's nature. Anything a man gets without effort, he assumes it required no commitment. When access is easy, he treats it casually. When access requires intention, he treats it carefully. That's why availability without boundaries slowly lowers your value in his eyes, even if he never says it out loud. A man measures worth by the work he puts in. Think about it. The job he fought for, he protects. The title he earned, he respects. The position he struggled to reach, he defends. Relationships work the same way. If you make emotional access, time, affection, and energy too easy, he doesn't feel the need to rise. He stays exactly where he is. And you end up wondering why he's not changing, when the truth is he was never required to. When a woman creates distance, she removes free access. She doesn't punish. She doesn't explain. She simply adjusts her availability to match the effort being shown. And that adjustment forces a man to recognize what he's been taking for granted. Suddenly, he has to plan. He has to communicate clearly. He has to show consistency. Because now nothing is guaranteed. Men don't chase women. Men chase what feels valuable. Value is created when something can be lost. The moment he realizes he could lose you, his mindset shifts. He stops moving on autopilot. He starts asking himself if he's doing enough. And if he's serious, he increases his effort without being asked. Here's where women make a critical mistake. They think earning means suffering. No, earning means intentional effort. You are not making him jump through hoops. You are making him show up like a man with purpose. And a man who wants a wife wants to earn her. Because earning builds pride. Pride builds protection. Protection builds commitment. A woman who is always available sends a message she doesn't intend to send. She tells him, no matter what you do, I'll stay. And while that sounds loving, it removes urgency. There's no deadline. There's no risk. There's no reason to change. But when your presence has structure, when your time is respected, when your energy is not freely given, a man starts behaving differently. Distance reminds him that you are not a convenience. You are a privilege, and privileges come with responsibility. A man who understands that will not play with your time. He won't be inconsistent. He won't leave things undefined. He will step into clarity because clarity secures access. If he doesn't step up, that's not failure, that's confirmation, because a man who refuses to earn you was never prepared to keep you. Marriage requires work, sacrifice, and responsibility. If he won't earn your presence now, he won't protect your future later. Men fall in love through action, not emotion. Every step he takes toward you strengthens his attachment. Every effort he makes ties his identity to you. And when a man has invested effort, he doesn't walk away easily. He doesn't risk what he's worked for. So when you create distance, you're not pushing him away. You're inviting him to rise. And only the man who sees you as wife material will accept that invitation. Let me take you deeper into this third truth, because absence activates respect, curiosity, and commitment in a man's mind in a way nothing else can. Presence builds comfort, but absence builds awareness. When you are always there, a man enjoys you. When you are sometimes unavailable, a man thinks about you, and thinking is where attachment begins for men. Men are problem solvers by nature. When everything is easy, there's nothing to solve. But when something valuable feels just slightly out of reach, his mind engages. He starts wondering, he starts imagining, he starts asking questions he never asked before. Not out loud, but internally. What is she doing? What does life look like without her? Am I risking something important? That mental engagement is powerful because what occupies a man's mind begins to occupy his heart. Absence removes emotional noise. When you step back, you're no longer filling every gap with conversation, reassurance, or availability. And in that quiet space, his true feelings rise to the surface. If he cares, he feels it strongly. If he doesn't, he drifts. Either way, you gain clarity, and clarity is priceless. Respect grows in absence because distance forces a man to acknowledge your independence. He sees that your world doesn't stop without him. You still laugh, you still grow, you still move forward. That independence is attractive. It tells him you are not desperate for love, you are selective about it. Men respect women who choose them, not women who cling to them. Curiosity is born when access is limited, not hidden, not blocked, but limited. You don't overshare. You don't explain every emotion. You don't report every detail of your day. And that mystery invites him in. He leans forward emotionally because he wants to know more. And the more he invests emotionally, the more attached he becomes. Commitment starts forming when absence creates contrast. He compares life with you and life without you. He notices the difference in peace, support, and emotional safety. That contrast makes him protective. He doesn't want someone else experiencing what he knows you bring. And that's when a man begins to see you not just as a partner, but as a future. Women often fear absence because they think if they step back, they'll be forgotten. But the woman who is remembered is not the one who was always there. She's the one whose presence added value. Absence doesn't erase value. It highlights it. It makes him recognize what you contribute emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. A man who sees you as temporary enjoys the space. A man who sees you as permanent fills the space. He reaches out. He checks in. He increases effort. He wants reassurance that the connection still exists. And in doing so, he reveals his intentions without you asking a single question. Absence also protects you. It prevents overattachment before commitment. It stops you from giving wife-level access to someone who hasn't earned husband-level responsibility. And that balance keeps the relationship healthy. You remain grounded. He remains engaged. Men fall in love in the space where imagination meets effort. Absence creates that space. It allows him to imagine a future to miss you, to desire closeness with purpose. And when a man's desire is rooted in intention rather than convenience, his commitment becomes real. So don't underestimate the power of stepping back with grace. Absence is not emptiness, it's invitation. And the man who belongs in your future will respond by stepping closer. Let me talk to you about this fourth truth, because a woman with boundaries signals long-term value to a man without ever saying a word. Boundaries are not walls. They are standards. And standards are what separate a woman a man dates from a woman a man sees as his wife. A man may enjoy a woman who gives him everything, but he respects a woman who knows when to say no. Men are wired to recognize structure. We live by rules in every area of life: work, competition, brotherhood, responsibility. So when a woman has emotional and personal boundaries, it tells a man she understands structure too. She understands herself, and a man does not trust his future with a woman who has no limits, because if she doesn't protect herself, he assumes she won't protect the relationship either. When you create healthy distance, you're not withholding love, you're defining access, you're letting him know that your time, your body, your emotions, and your energy are valuable. Not everyone gets full access to them. Only someone who shows consistency, respect, and intention earns that privilege. That message hits a man deeply because it challenges him to rise to your level instead of pulling you down to his comfort zone. A woman without boundaries adjusts herself to keep a man. A woman with boundaries allows a man to adjust himself to keep her. That difference changes everything. One creates dependency. The other creates desire mixed with respect, and respect is the foundation of marriage. Love without respect fades. Respect without love can grow into commitment. Boundaries also remove confusion. A man doesn't have to guess where he stands. Your actions show him. You don't argue about effort. You don't debate consistency. You simply respond to what is shown. When effort increases, access increases. When effort drops, access changes. That clarity makes a man take the relationship seriously because there is no chaos, no drama, no emotional roller coaster. Men don't commit to chaos, they commit to peace. And a woman with boundaries is peaceful because she is not constantly negotiating her worth. She is calm, grounded, and secure in who she is. That kind of woman feels safe to build with. A man can imagine life with her because she already lives with discipline and balance. Boundaries also test readiness. A man who wants something casual will feel restricted. He will complain. He will call you difficult. He will say you're asking for too much. But a man who wants a future will feel challenged, not threatened. He will respect your limits because he understands they protect the relationship, not sabotage it. A woman who sets boundaries teaches a man how to treat her without lecturing him. She doesn't threaten to leave. She doesn't give ultimatums. She simply aligns her behavior with her standards, and that consistency makes her predictable in the best way. A man knows what behavior keeps her close and what behavior creates distance. That predictability creates security, and security is what allows a man to imagine marriage. He sees that you won't tolerate disrespect, inconsistency, or half effort. That tells him you will protect the marriage the same way you protect yourself. When a man realizes you are not afraid to walk away from what doesn't honor you, he understands your presence is a choice, not a trap, and a woman who chooses a man instead of clinging to him is a woman he takes seriously. Let me tell you about this fifth truth, because emotional discipline is what separates attraction from obsession and commitment from confusion. A lot of women think showing more emotion will pull a man closer, but men don't bond through emotional overflow the way women do. Men bond through stability. When a woman can control her emotions, not suppress them, but manage them, a man feels safe with her. And safety is what makes him think long term. Emotional discipline means you don't react to everything. You don't panic at silence. You don't overthink every delay. You don't let your mood rise and fall based on his attention. When a man sees that your peace is not dependent on his behavior, it does something powerful in his mind. He realizes you are grounded. And a grounded woman feels rare in a world full of emotional chaos. Men are constantly surrounded by pressure, expectations, competition, responsibility. When they come into a relationship, they are subconsciously looking for relief, not another battlefield. A woman who can remain calm, measured, and self-controlled becomes a place of rest. And a man will protect what gives him peace. When you chase emotionally, when you constantly seek reassurance, when you need constant validation, a man starts feeling responsible for your emotional state. That pressure makes him pull away. But when you show emotional discipline, he feels invited, not obligated. He comes closer because he wants to, not because he feels forced. Distance combined with emotional control sends a clear message. You care, but you are not consumed. You are interested, but you are not dependent. And that balance creates desire. Desire grows in space, not in pressure. A man wants to pursue a woman who knows how to enjoy connection without losing herself in it. Emotional discipline also changes how arguments happen. Instead of emotional explosions, there is composure. Instead of threats, there is silence. And silence from a self-respecting woman is loud. It forces a man to reflect instead of defend. He thinks about his actions because you're not attacking him with emotion. You're letting reality speak. A woman who controls her emotions controls the pace of the relationship. She doesn't rush intimacy. She doesn't force labels. She allows things to unfold naturally, and that natural progression makes a man feel like the relationship is solid, not rushed. Men are cautious about commitment when they feel pushed, but when they feel steady movement without pressure, commitment becomes attractive. Men associate emotional discipline with maturity, and maturity is essential for marriage. A man cannot imagine a future with a woman he believes will emotionally unravel under pressure. Life brings stress, loss, challenges. A woman who can regulate herself shows she can handle those storms. That makes him see you as a partner, not a responsibility. This discipline also protects you. You don't give more than you receive. You don't explain yourself endlessly. You don't prove your worth through sacrifice. You observe, you respond, you adjust. That self-control keeps your dignity intact and prevents emotional burnout. When a man notices that you don't overreact, don't beg, don't manipulate, and don't chase, he begins to respect you deeply, and respect is what transforms attraction into commitment. He knows you are not easy to replace because women with emotional control are not common. Men fall in love gradually. Emotionally disciplined women allow that process to happen. They don't rush his feelings ahead of his readiness. They don't demand emotional responses on their timeline. They allow his attachment to grow naturally through experience and consistency. And here's the quiet power of emotional discipline. It makes a man curious. He wants to know what moves you, what excites you, what touches your heart, because you don't put everything on display. That mystery keeps him engaged. He leans in emotionally instead of you leaning toward him. A woman who masters her emotions doesn't lose love. She attracts it with intention. She creates desire through balance, and she gives a man the emotional environment where commitment feels safe, natural, and necessary. Let me finish this by opening your eyes to the deepest truth, because the right distance doesn't just create attraction, it turns attraction into vision. A man doesn't decide a woman is wife material because of chemistry alone. Chemistry gets attention. Vision creates commitment, and vision only forms when a man has the space to see you clearly, not just feel you emotionally. When you're too close, too involved, too present, a man is reacting, not reflecting. He enjoys the moment, the connection, the comfort, but he's not thinking ahead. Distance gives him room to imagine. It gives him room to picture mornings, routines, peace, and stability. And when a man starts imagining life with you, instead of just enjoying time with you, that's when the shift happens. Men don't marry excitement. They marry consistency. They marry peace. They marry a woman who adds structure to their life, not confusion. Distance allows him to observe how you move, how you live, how you handle yourself when he's not the center of your world. And when he sees that your life is full, ordered, and grounded, he starts thinking, this woman could fit into my future. A woman who creates distance without drama shows emotional maturity. She's not trying to trap him. She's not rushing him. She's not forcing timelines. She trusts the process, and that trust makes a man feel respected. Men commit faster to women who don't try to control the outcome, because control feels like pressure, and pressure kills vision. Distance also allows him to feel the weight of responsibility. When you're always present, he doesn't feel the urgency to secure you. But when access is measured, when closeness is earned, he starts thinking protectively. He realizes another man could step into that space. And that realization wakes up something primal. A man doesn't want to compete for a woman he sees as temporary, but he will fight to secure a woman he sees as his future. Creating distance doesn't mean acting uninterested. It means acting intentional. You show warmth without overextending. You show care without sacrificing your standards. And that balance makes a man slow down and evaluate. He starts asking himself questions like, am I showing up the way a husband should? Because your presence now feels like a privilege, not an entitlement. When a man begins to see you as his wife, his behavior changes quietly. He becomes more consistent. He becomes more protective of your time. He starts thinking long term without being prompted. He doesn't want misunderstandings. He doesn't want instability. He wants to lock in peace. And peace is created when a woman knows how to step back without walking away. Distance also shifts how he values your opinion. He listens more. He considers your perspective because he knows you're not trying to control him. You're choosing him, and being chosen by a woman who has options is powerful to a man. It boosts his pride and deepens his attachment. Men don't rush into marriage when they feel chased. They move toward marriage when they feel trusted to rise. Distance communicates trust. It tells him, I believe you will show me who you are. And a man who wants to be a husband wants the chance to prove himself without being micromanaged. A woman who understands this doesn't fear losing a man by stepping back. She knows the right man moves closer. She understands that distance filters intentions. It removes men who want access without responsibility and keeps men who want partnership. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. A man doesn't marry the woman who gives him everything. He marries the woman who inspires him to become more. Distance creates that inspiration. It challenges him to step into leadership, consistency, and accountability. When he sees that you are not afraid to stand on your own, he realizes you are someone he wants to stand beside. When he sees that your happiness doesn't depend on him, he wants to be part of it. And when he sees that your standards are steady, he understands marriage with you would be stable. That's how distance changes perception. It turns desire into respect. It turns affection into responsibility. And without you saying a word, it allows a man to see you not just as a woman he loves, but as the wife he doesn't want to lose.